budget speech. And so Dasen, Durban and KwaZulu-Natal in the recent weeks has really been almost the epicenter of some of the restlessness that we have seen in some of our campuses around the country. 111 billion rand more being pumped into the higher education system to assist with that. What's the reaction from some of the people you've been engaging with?
That's right, Tulas. In fact, that was top of mind for some of the students that we spoke to earlier today. We spent the morning at the UKZN's Howard College campus and spoke to some of the students there. They were hoping that the finance minister does pump a lot of money into that particular sector, which is education. They also spoke on issues of accommodation. So it seems like some of their wishes may have been answered. But obviously it goes far beyond that. Everyone that has been watching the budget speech was looking out for different things depending on which part of society they fell into. I'm now in Mhlanga at one of the business parks here, and the two ladies behind me were kind enough to stay about half an hour after they knocked off work to talk about the budget speech. I have Monadia and Laurentia here. Monadia, when you went into the budget speech, you did say to me that you didn't watch it, but you caught up with the highlights on the internet afterwards. When you read up on it, what were those things that grabbed you? And what did you feel resonated with you?
I think when I read about the entire budget speech, there was a lot as a citizen that would affect us. But I think what we all are, and myself, in every household right now, we are getting trouble with Eskom. And with that, when you hear about the budget speech and you hear that they're putting aside 23 billion, and it just makes us think, where and how are you getting this funding? Because municipalities are receiving their money. They're receiving a lot of billions a year, which is not going back to Eskom. And this is hindering citizens throughout this country. We need to stop having an intermediary between us and Eskom. I know it's a difficult process. I know it's just, some people will just say it's just a thought. But if there is a perspective put in place and a system put in place where we can, as citizens, can go online, pay directly to Eskom, and then we can, disregard and rechannel the whole funding.
So I get the sense that you're worried that government is going to be pumping more money into Eskom, but we're not going to reap the rewards. And I'll come back to that in a second. Laurentia, you were telling me, for you, what affects you directly is the sin taxes. And that's something that you're worried about and how it's going to affect your budget personally.
Yes, with sin tax, such as things like alcohol and going out, those are seen as luxuries, and being a single person and living a single life, that does obviously affect my budget. And it's already so inflated, so now that they've increased it, it does affect a lot of people at the moment. So, yeah.
And that along with the sugar tax as well.
Yes, that is correct. Sugar tax, it's not that much, so it's not a very high increase, but on the long run, yes, it will be.
And I think something that affects many of us is also the fuel levy. We've seen that 29 cents increase on the fuel levy for petrol.
Last year we had a big effect on the fuel things. Each month by December we thought it would reach to at least 20 rands per litre, but then it came Jan and it decreased. We should expect a more decrease in it because our neighboring countries, our countries within South Africa that we have, their prices are not as bad as ours. So it makes us think, why? Why are we paying so much for fuel? It's very difficult because that's how you go from point A to point B. Mm-hmm. Everybody's traveling today. Mm-hmm. Whether you have your own vehicle, whether you are getting transported with a public transport, but you are still paying for it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies. Tulas, those are some of the views here. You'll see that it is the fuel that is worrying them, but also the sin taxes and how much money government is going to be giving to Eskom to keep the lights on.
Yeah.